Good morning. Welcome to our spring convocation. This is the fourth year we've held a spring convocation. We gather together before the semester starts to share information and news that may impact us moving forward. Please join me in thanking the Academic Affairs Office for coordinating today's event. I hope each of you enjoyed some well-deserved rest over the break. The year behind us demonstrates what we can accomplish when incredible challenges are met with resilience. Together, we will begin the year renewed as we place students first. Today, you will hear from some of our administrative leaders on how we will navigate the remainder of this academic year. While we face many challenges during the fall semester, we have many moments worth noting. At this time, I would like to take a moment to recognize a few highlights from the fall semester. This past fall, RSU celebrated 20 years as an accredited institution awarding bachelor's degrees. 6 years ago, the university introduced its first graduate degree, the Master's of Business Administration, and we anticipate final approval to enroll the first students in our second graduate degree, the Master's of Science in Community Counseling, this upcoming fall. Throughout the past 2 decades, we have matured as a regional university. We have developed and delivered high-caliber degree programs, awarded 9,200 diplomas, and witnessed many of our graduates continuing their education to complete master's degrees, doctoral degrees, as well as graduating from professional and medical schools. A university is marked by its faculty and graduates, and I am honored to share in the continued success of our RSU community as we pass this milestone. During the fall semester, we experienced less than 1% of our RSU community reporting having tested positive for COVID-19 on a weekly basis, and a total of less than 4% reporting testing positive throughout the entire semester. This includes students, faculty, and staff across all 3 of our campuses. This is nothing short of incredible. My sincere appreciation to each and every member of our Hillcat family for exercising personal responsibility. Your actions served as a timely example for others to follow. Throughout the fall semester, our university made strides in improving the student experience. The RSU Foundation began efforts to improve nursing classroom facilities to meet the demands of the growing program. Improving the learning environment for our nursing students, we are investing in the future of healthcare providers during a moment of time when we need them most. RSU Public Television and Rogers State University, in partnership with the Cherokee Nation, launched the Distance Learning Channel, airing college-level concurrent enrollment classes for high school students throughout the coverage area of the television station. The programming was funded by a $100,000 grant from the Cherokee Nation and is designed to bring courses to students who otherwise wouldn't be able to access teaching via the internet. Thank you to our faculty who spent some summertime providing this course content. RSU Counseling Center expands services with the addition of a graduate intern, online scheduling, and e-counseling. A new partnership with Cree Oaks Health Service now provides mental health resources to serve the satellite campuses in Bartlesville and Pryor. While these are great strides forward, we know that the ongoing pandemic will continue to impact the mental health of our students. There are more highlights I could share with you, but in the interest of time, we will move forward. I encourage you to continue sharing your stories with the Office of Communications and Marketing for inclusion in the weekly Hill Headlines email. As we turn our attention to the remainder of today's agenda, I would like to highlight 2 items that require ongoing attention: the budget and enrollment management. Physically, we remain conservative with our resources. This allows us to weather our current storm. I've asked Mark Razor, Vice President for Finance and Operations, to address our current status in more detail later. The key to our long-term physical stability will be continued enrollment growth and improved student retention. Due to unforeseen circumstances, Dr. Heidi Hoskinson, our Vice President for Enrollment Management, was unable to join us today. Her enrollment update will be shared with you by email. Dr. Beck will complete our convocation with highlights from academic affairs. As we move forward throughout the remainder of the academic year, I'm calling on all employees to help us take care of our students. This includes a continued emphasis on providing good customer service with all transactions. Where possible, we are asking everyone to take the extra step to help students finish this year strong. At this time, I will turn the program over to Dr. Foley, and we will continue with our program. Thank you very much for joining us today.
RSU has had the good fortune to hire new staff members and new faculty. To all those hired since our last convocation, and on behalf of all those in attendance, welcome to the RSU family. We're very pleased you've joined us, and we look forward to working with you in the days, weeks, and semesters ahead. Please welcome new faculty member Jim Berryman and new staff Gina Ray Kahn, Andrew Delaney, Lacey Henniger, Lee Johnson, Lori Mullins, Richard Parsley, Lewis Ross, Jennifer Russell, Katie Warnick, Alexander Weare, and Elizabeth Woolery. To recognize the important contributions of our colleagues, the Staff Advisory Council sought nominations for the Dr. James Hess Excellence in Education Award. The Council will award two $250 stipends to the following individuals for their commitment to service, ability to excel in their work, outstanding leadership skills, effective communication skills, and involvement in the community. Please join us in celebrating the contributions and achievements of people who make RSU a great university. This year, the two award winners are Veronica Rackley and Andrew Nichols.
Hi. As the chair-elect, I'm happy to serve on the council to ensure that all staff's needs are being met. The council has representatives from all areas across campus and classifications. We meet the second Wednesday of each month through Zoom and the executive boardroom. This past fall, we have been working on focusing on bettering the staff experience here at RSU. We've been reviewing the RSU Flex policy schedule, COVID practices, telecommuting policy, and building relations with Faculty Senate. If you have a topic that you would like us to cover, please feel free to share with any member or to join one of our meetings. With the help of the Foundation, we're able to award the Dr. James Hess Excellence in Education each spring to two deserving staff members. This fall, we received over 10 nominations, of which the council voted to select the top 2. Thank you to those who took time to nominate individuals. Overall, the Staff Advisory Council is here to help better everyone's experience at RSU. To learn more about topics that are covered, please visit our page within MyRSU to find copies of the agenda, minutes, member list, and resolutions. Thank you for allowing me to share information about the Staff Advisory Council this morning.
Good morning. My task this morning is to give you a brief update on the fiscal affairs of the university, and I'm going to try to do that as succinctly as possible. First of all, we'll take a look at revenues and kind of look back at the last semester. As of December 10th, our actual billed tuition and fee revenue was right at 50% of our budget projection. We would normally expect that to be a little higher than 50% because fall enrollment typically runs higher than spring and summer. But we're not overly concerned. We had budgeted a 9% decrease and came in right at 4.4%. The other revenues were about 41% of budget at that time. This is primarily due to the state appropriation not being received until after December 10th, which is when I prepared this report. Speaking of state appropriations, one of the good news about the last semester is that our state appropriation was fully funded. There were no cuts beyond the originally announced $415,000, which we're very happy about. Moving on to the next section. CARES funds. I wanted to give you a brief update on CARES funds. I know you've heard a lot about that. The university received about $2.6 million in the first CARES funds allocation. Of that, $1.3 million was allocated directly to student grants. This is money that was required to be paid directly to students. And as of today, we've awarded almost the entire $1.3 million. I believe we have about 1,000 left as of today that we haven't awarded. The other half of that money, an additional $1.3 million, is for institutional expenses. We used the first $420,000 of that to reimburse ourselves for room and board refunds to students who had to move out of the dorms last March. The remaining money will be used for things such as ProctorU fees, Zoom fees, classroom modifications, PP&E, additional cleaning, extra sanitization efforts, anything revolving around our additional expenses due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We also received an additional grant for a native serving institution of about $250,000, and we are working in conversation about how to expend that money. We received money through the state, from the State Regents for Higher Education, $149,000, specifically to go for PP&E. That money has been spent and reimbursed. We used it for cleaning, for PP&E, and as you can see, several other related expenses. I want to talk about a couple of other grants that we received that are not on the slides. The first responders received a PPE grant for $18,000. That money has been spent to buy masks and hand sanitizer. We have a humanities grant for about $18,000 that we're also in conversation about spending at this time. While these grants are helpful and they're very important to us, it's important to remember that they are very specifically targeted. They cannot be used for things such as bolstering our reserves. They cannot be used to backfill lost revenues. They can't be used for general capital projects. They should not be used for things, ongoing expenses such as payroll. They come with a lot of strings attached, and we are being very careful to make sure we meet the guidelines required to expend these funds and that we expend them in such a way that they will benefit the university the most. Moving on, I want to look forward now to some budget concerns that we have, and I'll just go through those quickly. There is still the potential for a mid-year cut from the state, depending on the revenues, the gross production revenues, and the various other revenues the state receives. Mid-year cuts are particularly devastating because they come usually late in the year and can really impact your budget revenues. That's a potential. I don't expect it to happen based on the conversation I'm hearing out of the Capitol, but there is a potential. What is probable is an FY22 cut to our appropriation somewhere in the 4.5%, maybe more percent range. So we'll be hearing more about that starting in February as the legislature convenes. We'll try to keep you posted on that through the Budget Advisory Committee and other areas, but I think it's very likely that we will receive another state appropriation cut. As you know, our budget this year was based on a $3 million deficit and assumed a 9% decrease in enrollment. The good news is the fall decline was only 4.4%. However, as of, I believe, yesterday, the spring enrollment is down 10%. That means we are going to have some revenue concerns moving forward, and we are going to have to react to those concerns. Expenses are currently tracking with the budget, even though revenues appear to not be tracking with the budget. Some potential responses, and I emphasize the word potential because we have not made these decisions as of today, but there is the potential for a spending freeze, and there is the potential that we would have to reinstate furloughs. Having said that, I want to commit to you that Mr. Allgood, Dr. Rice, and myself will work diligently to manage our finances to limit that impact as much as possible. We do not want to do furloughs, and we will do everything we can to avoid those. That really concludes my update, but I would close by saying that the door to my office is always open. My phone, I answer my own phone most of the time. If you have questions about the budget, if you have concerns about the budget, please feel free to reach out to me and express those so that we can react accordingly. Thank you very much for your time. Go Hillcats.
Good morning. I hope the new year has been treating you well. During my convocation presentation, I would like to provide an update on two items that are of heightened importance to RSU, including institutional progress with the Higher Learning Commission and the development of RSU's next strategic plan. As shared during our fall convocation, RSU is in year one of the HLC Student Success Academy, our requisite quality initiative toward continued accreditation. So far, RSU has conducted a data inventory, an initiatives inventory, and a student satisfaction survey as part of its environmental scan. On the horizon for the spring semester are the launch of RSU's Student Success Academy website and an Initiatives and Infrastructure Roundtable to be conducted by the Higher Learning Commission. Of note from the Fall Student Satisfaction Survey, on-ground course delivery continues to be a strength for RSU, with 94% of student responses either satisfied or very satisfied with this delivery format. Though distance education delivery and Zoom delivery lag behind, our continued expansion of quality matters in distance delivery and our codification of specific practices in Zoom delivery should yield greater student satisfaction in the days ahead. The Higher Learning Commission recently conducted a review of RSU's second master's degree program, the Master of Science in Community Counseling. The approval process for the program has been lengthy and substantive, with review taking place both internally and externally over a period of many months. Important questions have been asked along the way, and RSU has responded appropriately at each step. With the Higher Learning Commission external site review having taken place over November and December, we are now awaiting final word from HLC via its Institutional Actions Committee, which we anticipate receiving in March. RSU intends to launch the Master of Science in Community Counseling program this August. Turning to the area of strategic planning, RSU's current strategic plan will expire at the end of this academic year. As a reminder to all, the top strategic goals for the current year are presented on this slide. Much has been done and remains to be done to meet the goals that RSU has set for itself. I wish everyone the best in the days ahead as we collectively strive toward continued institutional excellence. As we turn toward consideration of our next strategic plan, please know that proven elements of past processes will be utilized. Cross-institutional input was a vital element in our prior efforts. It will again be garnered through focus groups, but given COVID consideration, these focus groups will be conducted virtually through mid-January and mid-February. Your input on mission, vision, goals, and challenges is vital, and I hope that you will give strong consideration to participation in one of the virtual focus groups. Once the cross-institutional input has been compiled, it will be shared with the Strategic Planning Committee in late February. The committee will then draft our next strategic plan during March. The draft of the plan will be shared institution-wide for commentary and for suggested edits in April. Changes will be made as appropriate, and a finalized draft will be sent to the University of Oklahoma Board of Regents for approval at their June meeting. Strategic Plan 2021 through 2026 will begin in August. Given the opportunity to reflect during the holidays, I was reminded of the past fall semester and the many challenges that RSU successfully overcame. I take heart from serving alongside so many dedicated colleagues, and I thank you for your efforts. I would also like to extend to everyone my best wishes for another successful semester. This concludes Spring Convocation for 2021. Thank you, and go Hillcats!